Hi, it's Dave Crane. Welcome back to Speak on Stage TV. It's so good to have you with me and broadcasting live from Dubai every single morning. And going slightly later today because people said to me, I haven't got a chance to have my coffee yet, Dave. Can you make it 10:30? So closer to 10:30. Here's my coffee. That's good. And the news is apparently that Starbucks has declared that it's going to close down about 90% of its branches in the US. I don't know what that means for the rest of the world. If you're a big Starbucks fan, you like to sit and have coffee and chill out and talk. Well, nobody's been sitting down and chilling out and talking together for a little while. Hence that decision that's been announced overnight. But what has been added is they're going to be boosting their takeaway service. So for those people who can't live without their Starbucks, you can have it delivered or you can drive through and get it still. But there's not many people in the restaurants, costing a fortune in the rent, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, welcome to the show. It's all based on the title Bad Habits and Good Hedgehogs. I keep getting that wrong, don't I? Okay, Bad Habits and Good Hedgehogs. Have a look at this. And suddenly, it'll all start making sense yet again. There we go. And that's my best PowerPoint skills. It's all about the things that you should be doing, the things you shouldn't be doing, and also how to focus. Now, yesterday we talked about the need, if you're going to reinvent yourself, to be able to be effective in the way that you do reinvent yourself. Don't just go, I want to be a plumber. I don't know why I keep picking on plumbers. Or I want to do something completely different, because that's not actually the answer. And if you've got kids, and you're wondering how school fits in, because that's changing rapidly for them as well, and also if you can have more of a handle on what happens to them in the future, well, this show will really help for you as well. There's a ton of stuff with that about how to form your future using hedgehogs. We'll also be looking at all the habits you have to dump to start working, and we'll also be enjoying our coffee and wishing Starbucks and Costa and all the many other coffee providers all the very best. Marvel. Last night I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp with my daughter. And she enjoyed it. But you know that bit when you spend time with your daughter or your son or somebody and you say, I really enjoyed that, and they look at you and go, how old are you, Dad? That's what I thought. So, if you just joined us, welcome to the show. I'd love to have your thoughts, your comments. If you want to catch me and connect, you can get that through thedavecrane.com, thedavecrane.com, which was the website that's got all my details on for catching me on WhatsApp or email me and all the rest of it as well. And also, we love to have you connect. Now, if you keep missing the show, make sure you follow me in some way, shape, or form. Subscribe on YouTube, connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with me on Facebook, and also on Instagram, and we put things out through Periscope onto Twitter. So all those different formats, please make sure you connect. Now, the whole show is about helping you to think differently about your brand, about your voice, about your ability to communicate with people. Something like 90% of people have a massive fear of public speaking, and that might be you. And you might say, I've got away with it so far, Dave. I've never had to worry about speaking, ever, really, because I can hide behind my computer, or I can get somebody else to speak. I only speak back when I'm spoken to. Well, that kind of works up until a point, and the point is a digital economy. Nowadays, you have to be found online. And the truth is that posting something online is the same as public speaking. Through working with hundreds and thousands of people across the world, I found that those who have the fear of public speaking don't like to post or even comment online. They'll give a like and they're worried about what people will think. Now that worked to a point, but the point is in a digital world, if you haven't got a brand, people aren't going to be able to find you. The idea of having a job, a 9 to 5 forever, must be already going through your head that maybe I'm not guaranteed to be looked after the way that I was before in a secure job. That means that we're going to have a more liquid job market. What does that mean? It's going to be more fluid. Sometimes you work for them, sometimes you work for these guys, sometimes you fill a gap, sometimes you work on your own projects. Everyone's going to have to think more entrepreneurial, or at the very least work for a couple of different masters at the same time. In order for those people to find you, because then they'll be looking online and they'll have a potential client base of 7 billion people, you need to rise to the top. You need to be visible. So even if you do connect with them directly, when they look at who you are, they'll check you out on all the social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're using. But what they will find is what they will judge you on as to whether they want to work with you or even work with you again. So finding your voice is important because the whole process of finding your voice leads to your mindset. Once you've worked out your mindset, you're also able to communicate effectively. Once you can communicate effectively, you can help to grow your brand. That means people will find you, and it also means that in a crazy, challenging world that we're in right now, it means that people will be able to connect with you and do business with you. So now what I want to do with you is share all the bad habits that you've got to dump. See, there was method in my madness talking about it. So what we're talking about here is this 5 habits that you may well have that I want to help you relieve yourself of. That sounds a bit rude. It's not meant to be. Now, these habits are especially challenging if you're at home. And if you're at home and you're single, then that's even more challenging because you need your ecosystem around you to keep you ticking. But it might be that it's holding you back in your success. Now, the 5 things I'm going to share with you are things that you should consider. I'm not saying you should stop. That's your choice and it always should be. But that may be the case. You go, Now, I believe that to be successful, you need to increment, do tiny little percentages of change here and there. And those tiny things will add up to make big change for you. You don't have to go, right, I'm stopping it. I'm reinventing myself as a Disney character because that might not work as well. Anyway, to the 5 things, the 5 habits that are holding back your success. Let's go through them one by one. Number 1 is this: checking your phone as soon as you wake up. Now that should be scrolling through, but it hasn't done, so I'm just going to tell you anyway. Checking your phone as soon as you wake up, which is a problem for many people. Why is that a problem, Dave? Because it means you're not spending quality time thinking about the other things you could be doing with that. Wake up, meditate, wake up, thank the world, give gratitude, think about where you truly want to be. If you spend all your time on that phone, then you're a slave to it. And that means you're addicted to seeing whether you get likes or hates or comments or shares and all the rest of it, and they give you dopamine injections of happiness when you get them, and when you don't get them, you're addicted to looking again. So make sure you hold back on that. Number 2, saying too much. Whenever you're in conversation with people, it's very tempting just to share as much as possible about what you think, and sometimes overstep the mark. Less is more. I'm not saying don't have a conversation with your friends. You should always have conversations with your friends. But if you're in sales, you'll be aware of this, that sometimes you can end up buying back a product after you've sold it. Why? Because they've already said yes, and then because you're droning on, they're starting to have buyer's remorse. And as I have buyer's remorse, they're thinking, why am I still talking to you? You're nagging me. You're annoying me. Do I really want this in my life? You know what? Let me think about it. I'll come back to you. So don't overstay your welcome. Number 3, scrolling through social media. I know you found me on social media. We broadcast live every single day on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter via Periscope, on Instagram, and also on something else I forgot to mention, which I did not say. Go through them. That's for you to puzzle over. So going through social media and scrolling through, we spend on average apparently about 82 minutes a day on social media. Now, if you're growing your brand, that's kind of forgivable because you have to answer questions, comment on people's posts, and so on to do it. But most people don't. Most people just spend their time doing it. And there's nothing wrong inherently with being on social media, but are you spending all your time being distracted from the stuff you should really be doing? Yes, I know I sound like my mum and probably my dad. But you get the point. Check what you need to check and get out. If your entire life is checking through social media, the odds are you're not going to get success, but you won't get bored either. You choose which one you want. Number 4 is fearful thinking. Fear of the world going wrong. Fear of doing things that could come back and damage you so much that you're frozen in place and you don't do anything. This is a massive challenge for many people because they hesitate and they stay in place. And if you've got a comfort zone of being in your world and doing what you do with the friends that you do, the colleagues, and earning a certain amount, then you'll never take a risk to get out of it. But here's the problem. The world is changing so fast that your industry may well not be an industry now. Or it may be going through the death throes. Let's look at it. We mentioned earlier in today's show about Starbucks, which was the brand for coffee are just about to close 90% of their branches in the US. You think that's by accident? No. You would put your money on that, on them being the safe ones. People need coffee. After a lockdown, they want to chill, they want to meet their friends. What a great investment. I'm not saying Starbucks isn't a great investment, but they're changing, they're evolving, they're doing more carryouts. They still want to reach their people, but they realize that habits are that people don't want to sit close to strangers anymore, but they still want their coffee. So always, always, always think about your comfort zone and do what I do. Get into a discomfort zone. What does that mean? Well, if something scares me, but I think it might be useful, I'll do it anyway. Like doing a live show every single day and coming up with material and sharing it with you. Challenges? Oh yes. Scared? Ickle bit. Success? Ba-ba-ba. You can judge. Anyway, as you're judging, give me your comments and your shares and your likes and your thoughts. And it's always good to have you joining me, by the way, so it's always a pleasure. And the last thing, number 5, is watching TV. If you do not do anything else, think about your journey, your roadmap, put together your vision board, all the things that need to move you closer. Most people spend their time just doing TV. Netflix is doing very well. It's doing very well because of you. And the thing is, Netflix is so seductive. And I know there are other streaming channels available as well. Okay. Hulu, and there's Disney, and there's blah. Well, not blah. But you get the general idea. Now, the thing is, box sets are really seductive because they're brilliant. And TV, in many ways, is better than movies because they'll get a basic idea, they'll make it the same kind of quality as a movie, but then you can go and watch 12 to 24 episodes of the same characters, and it takes you on lots of twists. And you're thinking about watching Netflix now. Use it strategically. Use it to chill out. Use it to take a break. Use it when your brain's gone numb from working and you want to have some quality time, just being yourself. But don't get addicted to it. The box sets will still be there when you're finished. You don't have to watch them all. They're made to get you to spend time with them. Doesn't mean that you should. Cigarettes are addictive. Lots of other things are addictive. Sugar, he said, having sweets somewhere around here. So think about that. So those are the 5 habits holding you back. Have a think about them. I am not your mother, but I'm just suggesting it because for many people you'll be going, you know what, Dave? That kind of makes sense. And if it does make sense to you, then I'm glad to be of service. Right then, I did promise to tell you about bad habits. I also promised to tell you about hedgehogs. And you're probably thinking, Dave, what was the hedgehog thing about? Well, this, or this, as my hand doesn't disappear. How do you do that? There we go. I've got a box around me, you see. I've got a box, and I can only stay in that box. If I move over to here, I disappear. Move over to there, but do like that, like a James Bond, I can point. So let's start again. This is a hedgehog. I know you know that, but there's more coming. If you read, and you should always read, motivational books and books that help you move a little bit further closer to where you need to be, then there's a really good series of books by Jim Collins, notably Good to Great and Built to Last. Now, Jim Collins studied what makes a company last for 100 years. And you're saying, wow, whoopee-doo. Well, if you're running your own business, you're probably wondering that. And one of the things that I discovered was they have a hedgehog concept. What's a hedgehog concept? Well, first of all, it looks a bit like this. And secondly, it's something they do so naturally that when they do it, it doesn't feel like work and it's perfect for them. Let me explain. A hedgehog is a pretty boring creature, unless you're a female or male hedgehog. Doesn't really do much. You get them in the UK, porcupines in wherever, Spain, wherever. But one thing nature has given them is while they're rodenting about in your garden, if they get a sense of danger, they curl up into a ball with their spikes on the outside and nothing can get at them. Unless you try and cross the road, in which case traffic can get at them. But normal predators, foxes, badgers, whatever, even people can't get near because they'll get spikes in their hands. The key is to find what you do so naturally that if you were in danger, you would be protected, but you could also just function knowing that you got a natural shell around you to make you magnificent. So how does that work? Well, it's very simple. It's called your hedgehog. Now let me see if I can just move this slide on. As if by magic. There we go. Right, so your hedgehog is this diagram. Now, the hedgehog bit is actually in the center. You can just see it at the top there, the red bit, where it says win. Now, the idea is to draw circles like this, 3 circles, and work out the 3 things. First one is, what could you feasibly be the best in the world at doing? That's the bit where it says, what are you good at? You make a list of all the things you're brilliant at, all the things you really have excelled at, or things that you can turn around and say, leave that with me, I'm good, I can do that. You might be really ambitious and say you're the best in the world, but it doesn't have to be that. You might need to look through your CV and look at all the job descriptions you've had and all the things you go, actually, no, that's my bit. That's what I do really well. So that's number one. Number two, and that's a bit that is here at the top. See, it's a mirror. This is actually my other hand. Anyway, no, that's my other hand. What do you love? What do you love doing so much? It's your passion. You can do it all day long and never get bored. I know if you're stuck at home, you're thinking about something else. I don't mean that. You probably can't make money from it. I know it's good. Stop it. You'll go blind. He said, touching his glasses. Not for a reason. What can you do every single day and you love it and you never get bored? And so therefore you really feel like you're happy every single day. And the third thing, which I'm kind of covering with my head and my chair, if I move to this side, like that. Hello, it's still me. Can you see me? What pays well? What does the world want to pay you for? Not what do you want to give the world or what does the world need. The world doesn't care. It does its own thing. What pays well? So you work out what you're great at, what do you love, and what pays well. You can't take any two. If you take what you love and what you're good at, and that isn't something that pays well, like I'm brilliant at making origami planes, but nobody wants to pay for it, I'm going to be happy but poor. If I choose what I love and what pays well, but I'm not very good at it, like football, I love football, pays really well if you're a top footballer, but I can't kick for toffee, I'm going to be living a dream that doesn't exist. And similarly, if you do what you're good at and what pays well, but you don't love it at all, you'll be rich but bored. And many people working in finances, stock exchange, blah, 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 who experience burnout with a ton of money, have often experienced that. You need all three things. When you've got all three things together, that is your hedgehog. And that, my friend, or you're not my friend, you're my connection, I don't know, you're my friend now, is what you really need to be doing for the rest of your life. Does that make sense? That is your hedgehog. The more you do of that, the better your life will become. And now we've almost come to the end of the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. We're going to be broadcasting every single day. I love to have your comments. Thank you so much. I will be commenting them, and we do repeat and start a watch party on all the different platforms that you have. And if you've got a question and you want me to train your team of all this kind of motivational stuff, or you want to learn from me directly, then please do. If you are living elsewhere and not in the UAE, and it's not quite so easy, don't worry, we can do it online. That's a whole new section of things we're going to be talking about in the future. But you can do it remotely by going to this website, speakonstage.com. There's a ton of different modules set up especially for you to be able to learn to speak on stage. Everything from getting over a fear of public speaking, to be able to do corporate presentations, to do better sales, to work a live audience, and also generate content, really interesting content that becomes viral that people want, like making videos and so on. In fact, I'm currently working on a brand new project to add to the modules called Digital Stagecraft, and that will blow you away. All about using AR and AI and VR and MR, and also going onto virtual platforms and speaking in digital. If that interests you, and how to do effective Zoom calls to conferences without picking your nose, and those people that go along and don't open up their camera, and it really frustrates you because you don't know what they're doing or what they're wearing or whether they're actually scratching their chin, ignoring you, and going on Facebook. All those things are all included in Digital Stagecraft. That's going to be coming out soon, but meanwhile, take a look, speakonstage.com. We have almost come to the end of the show. I hope you've enjoyed it, by the way, and as always, we need to get through a lot of different things to be able to get to where we need to be. I love your thoughts, I love your comments, and we do want to move on the things that challenge you. So always feel free to contact me and say, Dave, could you cover this subject? I was thinking about such and such. I was wondering exactly what your opinion is of this. Do it on all platforms. I'm here for you. Just pop it into the questions wherever you are. I will be looking through and scrolling through to see exactly what pops up. And in fact, they pop up in here as well. So have an amazing day. We get the show out early so you can enjoy the rest of the day. And I'll see you same time tomorrow. Make sure you join me for Speak on Stage. Thank you. Nobody said it would be easy. Being in lockdown for so long, watching the news, watching your business evaporate and people die,
is the most challenging of all. Why me? Why now? Where do we go from here? But the world has changed. The opportunities are bigger. The digital world is now open. You can find a new way of doing things. All you have to do is dig deeper than you've ever done before and connect with those who are watching you and say, what can we do? The world doesn't end. It just changes. And these challenges are also incredible opportunities. You need to find your voice. You need to find your direction. You need to find your motivation. You need to help others who might have lost their way. Help them find themselves. My name is Dave Crane. I help people to get on stage. I'll never stop fighting to help you to get on yours.